Landscape architects have something when they start working on a site that we look for, and it's called sense of place. And when I stand here and I look at this site and I think about what this site is telling us, I think of many things. I think about the environment when I look at the majestic oak. I think about the history of this place and the people that live around it. And there's an old Chinese proverb which actually is credited to many, many cultures, but it rings true. And it says, "One generation plants a tree so the next generation can enjoy the shade." And when I think of that, it has a literal meaning. And today you'll take a little tree home with you and hopefully think about that. But it also has a deeper meaning, especially when I think of this place. In a few minutes you'll hear a gentleman tell you of the history of this site. And that history was done through hours and hours and hours of research by a woman named Lisa Glenn, who couldn't be with us today. But her research and her history that she found and shared with us is a gift that she gives to all of us. And I think about the sense of place of this site. Really, the word that I think of is community. More than all the others. It's a community that built this site. It's a community that made this site special many, many, many years ago. And the gift that I hope our generation gives is to continue to use this site.
And the purpose of this facility right here is so that we can have activities here and really kind of stay off the roots of that tree, because we're trying to protect the tree as much as we can. And our forester has told us that we need to, be careful and not walk on the roots of the tree, and to be careful. And so we've done this so that Don and his Juneteenth Foundation can have a better place for them to have their annual event here. And I know Don's going to talk about that in the morning. But it's great that we can come as a city. It's great that we can come as people. We wouldn't be here today with this facility if it was not for people like HEB and their commitment to the community, and Quail Valley Proud and their huge commitment to this park, and to Lake Olympia Homeowners Association. So, I personally want to ask you to thank those three people, and I know we're probably going to talk about them a little bit later, probably Kelly is, but I just personally want to thank you on behalf of the city of what those three people have made with their financial commitment to this park and to what you're sitting on today. So give them a hand. Wouldn't you love to know what that tree has seen in over 200 years of history? How many storms it's been through? We worry about storms from year to year, and hurricanes and ice storms and all of the events that have happened. What this tree could tell us if it could talk. This place means different things to different people. But I think if you were a descendant whose family lived on this piece of land at one time, it probably has a totally different meaning than what it does to others. And we have someone here this morning whose descendants lived on this property, and they live here today too. So I think it's unusual that you find as old as this place is and as many years has passed, that we still have people that call it home. And we have the Gibbs here this morning with us, and here's a direct descendant of the people who actually lived on this property. So he and his wife are both here this morning, and we're honored that they're here.
Well, today is a tremendous occasion for us to celebrate the history of our ancestors who worked so hard and diligently on this plantation, and to see that we are still around, just enjoying the prosperity of their work. It's just a great opportunity. It shows, and it also shows how far Missouri City has come. We're a city of diversity. We live together, we prosper together. It's just overwhelming. So what more can I say? And the deck is awesome. The deck is just absolutely awesome.
When you think about the Freedom Tree, I think it is appropriately named. It was originally, this land was purchased by Judge Palmer He bought it for $6,000. A lot of the information about the tree is on the historical marker, and I do recommend that you read it. This is their land, and when we talk about a tree that is this majestic and, like the mayor said, has lasted this long, it's awesome to think that this is the place where the slaves were set free.
It's an immaculate tree, over 7 feet in diameter. This tree is over 300 years old. And I too, Mayor Owens, would like to wonder if this tree could talk, what it would say. I can imagine that this tree could tell us stories about picnics under it, meetings under it, and perhaps also about how people who endured the ordeal of bondage and the things they had to say and do. I can imagine this tree would tell you also how the same people who expressed and demonstrated jubilation when they heard that that bondage and those shackles had been removed. This tree is a symbol of not only that era, but it's a symbol of what Missouri City is all about when folks come together, regardless of what their background is, and hang together to become something as strong and as steadfast as what this tree represents. I think it's appropriate that the Juneteenth celebration for the last 7 years, first event, it comes under, is performed under this tree, depicting the history of what African Americans are all about and their accomplishments, but also tells a story as to how African Americans have evolved from that bondage that this tree could possibly witness to what's happening in present day life. On June the 14th, on June the 17th, we will do the same thing. We will have a dramatization right here on this site. And we will talk about how within 30 years from 1865, African Americans rose to positions of prominence: poets, senators, representatives, state representatives, national representatives, and go on and on, every genre of what life is all about. It will also remind kids that they too, just like this tree, regardless of what the prevailing winds are, that they have to stand steadfast and immaculate. I certainly hope that each of you will come by and witness this. Thank you.